Y'all already know that Houston's original neighborhood downtown is for everyone, and it is poppin' in August with Downtown Houston's Plus most popular events in Market Square Park and Trebley Park, like Blanket Bingo, Movies Under the Stars, the Summer Trivia Series, and Beats and Flow Yoga. You can also enjoy cool treats at these night events from their Market Square Park farmers market vendors and Toot Suite in Trebley Park. Learn more about these great events at downtownhouston.org. Downtown Houston. Get energized and revived.
Hi, we're Big Little Feelings.
You know what else is big and little? Batteries.
Big energy.
Little size, and they go in everything.
So we switched to the world's first 3-in-1 Child Shield by Energizer.
It's the only coin lithium battery that has 3 safety features designed to help protect kids.
Secure packaging,
A bitter coating to help discourage swallowing, and an exclusive color alert technology that turns mouths blue when it comes into contact with saliva.
To learn more, visit energizer.com.
Today on CityCast Houston, I love a margarita on a hot summer night. I enjoy them so much that I'm actually tagging in for host Raheel Ramzanali today so that I can talk to you about one of my favorite go-to drinks. On the rocks or frozen, Houston has some of the best margaritas around. So I'm getting the scoop on where to find them in Houston with Houstonia Magazine's food editor, Sofia Gonzalez. Because, you know, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. It's Wednesday, August 21st. I'm Carlignon Jones, filling in for Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about today. Hey, Sofia. So happy to have you back here at CityCast Houston. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this conversation today because we're about to talk about one of my favorite summer drinks. But before we get into this conversation about the best margaritas around Houston, I want to go ahead and give listeners a note that we want to encourage you to always drink responsibly, okay? Like, I know y'all have heard that 1,000 times, but it is important. And we want to make sure that when you go and have these drinks that you have someone that's a DD, which is like, you know, someone to take you home in case, you know. So make sure you're driving responsibly or call a cab or anything like that. So definitely make sure you're drinking responsibly when you're going out to enjoy these summertime margaritas. But let's hop right into the conversation. So I want to ask you personally, when it comes to margaritas, are you more of a on the rocks kind of girl or do you like a frozen?
So, funny enough, I am an on the rocks type of girl, but I will say that my favorite one is a frozen one here in Houston. So I kind of contradict myself there.
Okay. So anywhere else, you're taking on the rocks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. All right. So for me, I also like both, but I'm more of a frozen girl sometimes. It just kind of depends on my mood. I do like frozen margaritas just because they kind of last longer, you know? I feel like you can sit there and you can chill and eat and you don't have to like rush through the drink. So that's kind of like when I go to my frozen pick more of the time. But yeah, I love both. So before we dive into the top picks for your margaritas, can you share a little bit about the history of margaritas for our listeners? What is something that might surprise them about the origins of it?
Yeah, so of course, margaritas are made from agave. Agave is, you know, a plant from Mexico, but no one can really pinpoint the history of this drink. There's multiple theories to it. And actually, if you go to Patron's website, they have different theories listed. So I went ahead and I did some research on that. So the first one mentions a socialite named Margarita Same. She reportedly, you know, crafted this cocktail for her guests. Meanwhile, another theory is that it was originally called Tequila Daisy, which was a super popular cocktail in the 1930s, but it evolved to margarita because margarita means daisy in Spanish. Okay. Meanwhile, the third theory suggests that a bartender named the cocktail after a customer margarita who was allegedly allergic to all alcohol except tequila.
Wow.
Yeah. But I found a fourth theory that was just a little bit closer to home. It has to do with Galveston. So a man was working in a studio lounge in Galveston, and the theory goes that he crafted it for a famous jazz singer who requested a tequila drink without a whole lot of mess in it. And as for the name, well, her husband called it the Margarita because her name is short for Margaret.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of different theories floating around about it. But, you know, us being Texans, I'm going to go with the one that's closer to home, you know? So
yeah, me
we're going to take some credit for it.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think we should.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to margaritas, they're made with different forms of tequila. Like there's the classic margarita made with classic tequila. And then there's also margaritas that are made with mezcal and other liquors. So what should people know about that when they're looking on the menus and trying to figure out which flavors they're going for in their margarita?
Yeah, so all tequila is made basically mezcal. Mezcal is agave. And so it's kind of a subset of that. Think like Chardonnay compared to wine. That's what I would tell people. But mezcal is more smoky in its flavor, and the way that it's made is a little bit different than tequila. So you typically get tequilas that have all the same flavor palettes, I would say. I mean, obviously different brands, different high-end material, you'll find different things, but they all kind of have that relatively same taste, whereas mezcal is going to give you that smokier taste. So if you like an old-fashioned, you'll probably like a mezcal-based drink.
Okay, that's a good tip. I'm more of a not a smoky girl, so I probably would just go for the classic, but that is a good tip to know when I'm looking at the menu. Okay, so another thing about margaritas is that they're known for being a go-to drink just because they are delicious and refreshing, but also on the cheaper side, which is my favorite part about it. So when we're looking for margaritas around town, can you recommend some places that have some margaritas at a great price, but you still get a good feel?
Yeah, so I always tell people when they ask me this to go to Pistoleros. It's in Montrose. And you can make it as high-end as you want or as cheap as you want. They have such a great selection of tequilas. They have infused drinks. You can make it your own. So you can really craft it to your taste buds, which is great. And then you can craft it to that dollar amount because let's be real, we are all kind of balling on a budget recently. It's a struggle out there, I will say. So yeah, I would say to go to Pistoleros in Montrose if you're really, really balling on a budget and want a great margarita and really want it to be crafted to your taste buds.
Can you break it down to me, how we're going from the lower prices to the higher prices? What are you adding in to get the price to go higher?
Yeah, so I think it all depends really on the tequila that you like. So you can go from Herradura to Patron to, I know people like 1942, just different things like that. I think it depends at Pistoleros based on the tequila that you use.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Well, what about this? When I go get margaritas, one thing that I hate is when they're overly syrupy, okay? I hate when I get a glass that is just full of sugar and I don't know, it just ruins the whole experience for me. So what about places that have a more refreshing margarita that's authentic and made with fresh ingredients?
Very glad you asked this. If you want traditional and simple, I always tell people to go for the perfect shaker margarita from Picos, the original Ninfarita from Ninfa's, or the greatest margarita from Hugo's, or an El Tiempo margarita. Those are all made very simple. They stick to the tradition. They stick to the usual of what a margarita is. You know, the tequila, the lime, the Cointreau. They keep it simple. You are not going to find all that syrup in it. And you're going to love it regardless if you get it on the rocks or frozen from these places.
Ooh, I do love El Tiempo's margaritas. I will say that. Anytime I go over there, I love to sit there with some chips and some guac because they have some really good chips and guac and they're fajitas also. So,
Yes.
that is really, they do have some amazing margaritas at El Tiempo. I can vouch for that one for sure. Okay, so how about this? A heavy hitter. When I say this, I mean one of those drinks that you go to the bar and you only just need one of them and you're good. You're already mellowed out for the day and you could just go home and chill. So you have any recommendations for that?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, my favorite drink, despite being an on the rocks girly, is a frozen margarita. And this frozen margarita is La Lucha Margarita. So La Lucha is in the Heights. This drink is made with mezcal, tequila blanco, hibiscus, lime. And those ingredients blend together to make the prettiest pink drink. So not only is it good, but it's also Instagrammable. With it being frozen, you can sip on it your whole meal, like you said earlier. And although you said you don't like that smoky taste with the mezcal, the hibiscus and the tequila and the lime, they just all evens it out so well. You don't even notice it. It is so good. And one of those will get you right. You will be totally fine with one and maybe having a little too much fun with two in your system.
That sounds like a really good pick. Another thing that I see a lot of restaurants that serve margaritas do nowadays is serve what some of them call the Cadillac margarita. And it has tequila and Grand Marnier in there. And it is delicious because the Grand Marnier, sweetens the drink. So it's not too overly strong or anything like that. So I love to get that one for like, my heavy hitter days where I just want like one drink and can go home. Or another option is Gringo's. On Monday nights, they have a $5 deal for margaritas, and their margaritas are so strong, y'all. You can only have 3 of them. Or it might be 2, honestly. There's a limit. You only can have either 2 or 3, and that's it. There's no more purchases in the establishment, so you know that it's a strong one. But they're also really good and a great price. So check Gringo's out on Monday nights.
Oh, awesome. Good to know.
Yeah.
The land down under has never been easier to reach. United Airlines has more flights between the U.S. and Australia than any other U.S. airline, so you can fly nonstop to destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Explore dazzling cities, savor the very best of Aussie cuisine, and get up close and personal with the wildlife. Who doesn't want to hold a koala? Go to united.com/Australia to book your adventure.
This episode is brought to you by Xfinity. Peanut butter and jelly, dinner and a movie, rock and roll. Some things are just better together. In fact, it'd be pretty cool if you could get your favorite streaming apps and internet together, right? Xfinity thinks so. And that's what Xfinity Stream Saver was designed to deliver. When you add Xfinity Stream Saver to your internet, you get Apple TV Plus, Netflix, and Peacock all just for $15 a month. That's a whole lot of entertainment for your money, all on a network built for streaming. Switch today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Price subject to change.
I want to talk about a place that might have drinks that are a little bit more pricey, but are worth every penny, because sometimes spending that extra buck is worth it if the drink is really good. So do you have any recommendations for that?
Yeah, I would say that people tell me all the time that Candente is a little bit on the pricier side. I used to live in Montrose. I personally really love that restaurant. And I think that's a place where you can get a really great margarita. You can get it frozen, you can get it on the rocks, and you're going to enjoy your time there. And it's also another place where if you go and you have like 2, you're probably good. So you're not even going to spend that much. You'll be spending a little bit more, but you'll definitely get your bang for your buck with that place.
And so what would you say that listeners could expect to pay? Are they like the $15, $18, $20 margaritas? Is it kind of like that range?
With Candente, the house margarita is about $10 or $15, depending on the size you get. But you can make even better with the premium margarita, and that's $14 or $19. And if you want to personalize it to fit your flavor, you add $3 more and you completely make it your own. So yeah, it is a bit on the pricey side there.
Okay, yeah. That's not terrible pricing, but it is a little bit more expensive because you can get margaritas, like I said, the $5 one at Gringo's, but
exactly,
10
yeah.
and like 14 isn't too bad, especially if you can premium and upsize it. Yeah, that definitely sounds worth it. Now, I want to talk about a drink for listeners who don't drink. There are some people out here that just want to kind of go have like a mocktail with their friends, So are there any recommendations for a 0 proof mocktail that still has those margarita vibes?
So right now, I feel like a lot of people are trying that damp lifestyle or are going on a sober route, and kudos to them. Maybe one day I'll get there, but I'm pretty young, so I'm enjoying my time with these margaritas. But if you actually go to Winnie's in Midtown, they have a non-alcoholic margarita. It is made with seedlip agave, lime, orange, and salt. So it kind of has the tequila aspect of it because it has that agave, but it's non-alcoholic. So it's the perfect mocktail. It's $10 and you're good to go there. And it's nice and refreshing as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It sounded super refreshing when you were describing it. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay.
Yeah.
So for all the people that don't drink, you can just go and act like you are with your friends if you want to.
Yeah.
So as the food editor for Houstonia Magazine, tell me what it was like doing this margarita taste testing for this article. This sounds like it had to be a lot of fun, so I'm just wondering what it was like.
Yeah, so it was really funny. Actually, me and my editor-in-chief came together and we kind of were able to craft the list already based on our experiences, if that just shows you how much we go out to eat and how much we like to indulge on margaritas.
Yeah.
But I will say it was really fun getting to speak to these restaurants and finding out more about them because, you go and you just drink them. You don't even think about the presentation, the ingredients behind it, why it makes it this color or why it has this flavor to it. So I think the most fun part of it it, despite loving the taste of it, was actually getting to speak to these restaurants and find out what makes their margarita their margarita.
Yeah, I love that because it makes it even more special to know like what goes into it.
Exactly.
Was there anything that was surprising that you found out while you were there and talking to these restaurants about what they were putting in their margaritas?
So El Patio in Greater Uptown, their blue margarita takes their house margarita recipe and then adds the blue curacao to it. And so they actually, though, would not tell me their house margarita recipe. So keeping it under wraps to me was super interesting. I'm like, ooh, what are you hiding? It kind of reminded me of, SpongeBob or something.
That is too funny. I went to Papado's one time and they have like I think it's their hurricane. So it's not a margarita, but it's their hurricane. And they were like, yeah, it has a secret ingredient. And I was just like, okay, what is it? I was like, if I guess it, will you tell me? And so I guess it was like Kool-Aid in it. And so I just thought that was so random that they had Kool-Aid in a Papado's mixed drink. It was actually crazy. But yeah, so I'm wondering what it is. It might be like some Kool-Aid or just something around the house that's just random,
Yeah, and now the whole world knows this about Papado.
Yeah. Look, hopefully I don't get in trouble. But they told me.
Yeah, it's on them. It's okay.
Yeah, it's on them. Okay. So to wrap up, I want to ask you this, and this one might be the hardest question, but what is your perfect food pairing for a margarita? And I'm taking chips and guac off the table, okay?
Chips and guac off the table. That's fine, I think, because my perfect pairing with this would be a good tacos al carbon taco. Like, I love tacos al carbon, but I do have to put in there guacamole. So I'll have my fajitas, I'll have my guac, I'll have my pico. But I just think that is the perfect combination for me. What's yours?
Yeah. I would probably say fajitas. I'm a fajita girl. I love fajitas. Or even nachos. I do like a good, like, hearty, like, meaty nacho to eat with it as well. So it has to be between those two.
Those are good choices. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a great conversation and hopefully we got everybody ready to end off summer the right way.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sofia.
Thank you.
That was Sofia Gonzalez. You can read all of her food and travel content on Houstonia Magazine. We've also linked all the margaritas in our show notes. Before I go, help us grow the show by leaving us a rating and review. And please share the episode with 3 of your friends that you love going to happy hour with. You can also send them our newsletter, Hey Houston, for even more recommendations of places to check out around H-Town. And remember, when life gives you lemons, make a margarita. Drink responsibly, y'all. That'll do it for today. I'm Carlignon Jones. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. Margaritas are also, wait, I'm on the wrong part. Let me see 1 second.